What you're looking at here is my CI Computer Inventory 2 Relationships Database. And down below I try to break up my data into the smallest, most meaningful parts or tables. That way my searches are more efficient if I just want to look up the computers and not pull up everything else within my database. But by the same token, if my tables are related in that I want to be able to assign each employee a computer and keep track of that, I need to do just that. I need to relate this table, the employees, to the computers. So when I open up the computers, instead of the basic fields that I have for the computers, I need to add another field that's going to be able to tie to or link to the primary key field in the employees table. Now the field that I have here that I added is the same name as the primary key field in the employees table. Well, let me show you. Go ahead and open it up. You can see employee ID. How do you know that that's the primary key field? You can always right click on the tab, go to the design view. You can see the key next to the field's name, so that's the primary key. And then also it's important to know that when you create that foreign key field in the other table, in this case the computers table, to relate to the employee ID in the employees table, you got to have the same data type. I use the same name because it's a lot easier when I create the relationships, as we're going to learn how to do in the next training video. When I link the employee ID to the employee ID, that makes sense. But if I go to the computers table and I call this some other name, as long as it has the same data type, they'll still link up. But again, it's going to create some confusion, at least for me, if I don't have the same name as the primary key field that I want to link to. So the same data type, let's go ahead and close out. I have here, let's right click on the tab, go to the design view, the employee ID, same data type. And you can see over here in the description, which is nice, especially if you're going to be handing this off to somebody else and they don't know what you're doing. You can say that the reason why you added this field, or the purpose of the field, is that it's the ID number of the employee to whom the computer is assigned. So when I go ahead and I right click and go to the datasheet view, you can see it right there, and the employee ID. Now the employee has a bunch of information within the table. It has the first name, last name, the department code, and I don't want to put all that into this table because maybe I just want the employee's first name and the computer that they're assigned to, or the employee's first name, last name, or maybe I just want the department to find out which departments have the most computers. And you can do all that once you create these links to these tables in what's known as a query. Because if you do it this way, after you create the fields and you want to be able to check which employee is tied to which computer, this is really annoying. But when I look at the computer, the employee ID, and I see 1, then without the query, I have to come over here to the employees table and find out who 1 is. So it's right at the top. That was easy. Max Klinger. See, that's very annoying. So you can go ahead and generate a query once you go ahead and link these tables up and say, look, I just want to see in the employees table the last name and the asset tag that's been assigned to that employee. And you can view that all in one window. That is, as long as we got a field, a foreign key field in one table that links to the primary key field in the other table with the same data type. It doesn't have to have the same name, but you'll see later on how important that can be to avoid confusion. And then you'll see, in addition, let me close out of the employees, that I also have the manufacturer ID, not the name of the manufacturer, because when I open up the manufacturer's table, you can see it's got quite a few characters. When I just look at the ID, back in the computers table, it only takes up, well, right now, just a single character. But if I had their name, it would take up more characters. And so to make the database more efficient, I can break it up so that way, not every single time I look in the computers table or in a query, I may want to see the manufacturer, so I just have a single character, not constantly pulling up a name that has, well, more than one character. So again, what I've done is I looked at the primary key field here in the manufacturers. Let me hover in between these two column headers, double click really fast. I basically copied the name and put it over as a foreign key field here in the computers table and make sure it had the same data type. So back in the manufacturers, right click, go to the design view. Again, there's the key, the primary key. Now this data type is auto number. You don't want to do that in the foreign key field in the other table and generate an auto number, because you're going to have records that will clash. See if this makes sense. When I go back to the computers table and I'm creating a foreign key field for the primary key that's an auto number, right click, go to the design view. I just had the data type as number. Auto number and number, the keyword being number. One's generating it automatically, and the other one you don't want it generated, because once it's generated, if you had this as auto number 2 and you're creating records and the other one's automatically generating numbers, you could have record 3 with record 4, and 3 and 4 aren't syncing up because they're not using the same number. So just be sure that when you're linking to a primary key field that has auto number, the foreign key field, the data type will be number. That's probably the only situation where the data type apparently won't appear the same because one says auto, but technically it'll be correct because both of them are numbers.